Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
And welcome back, everybody. I've spoken with interior designers before, but never one quite like this because she offers that service and so much more. Something called staging, of course, furniture rentals, and so much more. We're going to learn from her today. Marty Wilkinson joins us here on the program. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I am well.
Yeah.
I feel that a lot of us are looking at our living spaces, our workspaces, and thinking, this doesn't align with me. I come home,
hmm
I'm not okay, I'm happy to be home. I'm happy I have a place to live, but maybe you're not loving where you are, or it doesn't resonate with you. And I feel that that's where an interior designer comes into play. Do you do a traditional interior design? Somebody's looking to change things up, or maybe they moved into a new location. All of those things to support the design of an interior you take care of?
Absolutely. Yeah. We do full service interior design. We go into a home, meet with clients. Depending on what their situation is, we can work with their existing furnishings if they still like them. Most of the time, people want to get rid of things and get new things. There was such a phenomenon during COVID where right after COVID, when everybody could, come out again, people were sitting in their living rooms for 2 months, just getting so, tired of what they had. And we had a big boom
Wow.
in interior design and people wanting to change up their look and their things that they've got in their house. So we offer, yeah, furniture, window treatments, rugs, accessories, lighting, paint ideas, full remodels if someone needs that as well.
Sure.
The bones of the house, whether it be kitchens or bathrooms, we basically do it all.
I have so many questions, especially about the design process. I don't want to press the pause button right there and go to the word staging. Now, I
Mhm.
have a perception of what that is, but in this case, I don't know if I have that right. So, uh, define that service that you offer.
Yeah, staging is more of going into a home that's for sale. And we have a huge warehouse full of furnishings that we use for staging. We first we go look at the house, decide what we're going to do, and then we go into the home and we bring a whole truckload of furnishings, accessories, lamps, artwork, and we set up a home for sale. Most of the time, it's a home that's empty, where it's nobody's living there. Somebody owns the home, but they've already moved out. So it's kind of like a model home. We create, a furnishing package for the house. Sometimes we use, again, sometimes if somebody's still living in the home, but they need some rearranging and some decluttering and some, editing of what they've got, we can do that as well. But here in Santa Fe, we have a lot of second home owners. And so there tends to be a lot of vacant homes for sale as opposed to people living in them and selling them while they're living there.
Wow.
So our services have become very highly needed here, especially.
Mm. I would have to imagine that it makes such a difference in the sale of the home to see it, and not to say that your own stuff isn't nice, but to have it professionally planned out with the right items to, and like it's always been said that, hey, if you want to really make somebody feel comfortable, have a candle with cinnamon, like apple
Yeah,
pie, because it's going to attack the senses and somebody's going to feel,
sure.
oh, so at home. I mean, that's, layer one. We take this many layers deeper where somebody goes
Yeah.
into a home and it just, wow, that's
Mhm.
what I want. Have you ever had a time where somebody walked into a home that was for sale, you staged it, and then the new owners turned around and said, yeah, can I have that? I want that couch. I want that. I want that.
Very much so. Yeah.
Wow.
In fact, we just had a situation where the new buyers bought the entire home full of furnishings because they liked it so much.
Wow.
And it was a second home, so they didn't want to have to be bothered running around town or, shopping for new furnishings. It was just turnkey. um, they got the key and it was ready to go.
Yeah.
So we get that a lot
I
actually.
get it. I
Yeah.
experienced this the last week. I'm in between homes. I sold mine just not the right time to buy, especially I'm in a suburb of New York and not a lot of inventory. What is available is so much higher price than it should be, like way over the top interest rate. So yeah, I'm renting now and it's okay. Definitely need a home.
Hmm.
But I went into a an apartment complex that's brand new, and as I'm looking, I'm like, price wise, maybe I could do better. Maybe this would be better. And the first thing I thought is like, wow, this just feels so nice. And then it was all it was a realization, Steve, that's staged. That
Yeah.
you're not getting, it's not furnished. Okay, you got that?
Yeah. I know.
But you
Well,
get
you're
sucked
right.
in.
It creates a wow factor. People it's somewhat intangible. It's kind of hard to put a finger on it, but honestly,
Hmm.
when you walk into a well-designed room, you just feel really comfortable and
Yeah,
you can picture yourself living there, even if you're not using our furniture in the long run. If you've got your own furnishings, it gives people an idea of how to set the room up, especially if there's challenging spaces.
hmm,
We that's a real bonus for staging because if a room is oddly shaped or you're trying to combine a living room and a dining room in one, there's so many people that can't visualize what you can do with an empty space. So it really, I call it spoon feeding, but you're kind of spoon feeding people, how a space could work, how you can set it up. And it just works. And especially online when people are looking at houses online, which is 99% of people are doing that before they actually come to look at a home.
sure.
Looking at an empty room online versus a staged or furnished room is night and day because you kind of can't tell how big a room is if it's empty. You can't tell what a room is if it's empty.
Hmm.
It really helps translate, you know, to the future buyer.
Oh, for sure.
So,
It I want to talk about the psychological aspect of design. And again, we got a lot to talk about, so I'm very excited. But
mhm.
do you look at it from a psychological standpoint? What somebody's feeling, why they might be feeling it, why they might want a certain design. And for example, I walk into my bedroom where I am now, love it, just great, and some of the furniture came from my home. It's got a sort of tropical vibe to it, darker woods. Um,
Tommy Bahama, Tommy Bahama, kind of, right?
I love it. And I
Maybe.
have this
Yeah.
one huge circular window. So in the morning, the bright
Oh, well.
light, it's all fantastic. Feels good. Walk into my
Hmm.
living room. It's all right. I'm grateful. It's all good, but I don't have that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know that it's not exactly me, but I haven't put my finger on it. How do you find what's me or what's somebody?
Well, what I like to say is we stage for the home. So, like, we've got all different styles of homes here in Santa Fe. And I mean, they're building a lot of very contemporary homes here right now. And then we also have the very traditional, adobe homes with the
Mm,
vigas and the typical look that people think of when they think of Santa Fe.
sure.
So, you know, for the most part, we're staging and furnishing the home so that the furnishings reflect the architecture of the home because psychologically someone who's going to buy whatever style home it is going to have a bent, if you will, towards that kind of style or design. Like somebody that wants a really contemporary home isn't going to look downtown on the east side for a very traditional adobe home. They're going to be looking at contemporary style architecture. And so when we are doing that, we're thinking of the type of client that's going to want that and furnish it accordingly. So I guess that's psychological, but it's really matching the staging with the home and the feel of the home. And so that person that wants that look is going to feel that it feels right when they walk in and they see it done. So,
How would you define your signature style or your style? Now, granted, whatever anybody wants, you'll adapt to it. But do you
Mhm.
have one that you're comfortable with, you gravitate to?
Well, I kind of pride myself on the fact that people recognize when we staged a home, everybody's like, oh, Metamorphosis did this house. And again, it could be very contemporary, it could be very traditional, but I think our biggest claim to fame is that I'm an interior designer first. So we use very high quality looking things.
Hmm.
A lot of stagers are doing the cheap and cheerful type of thing.
I love that. Cheap and
I've
cheerful.
Yeah, but you can tell things look a little flimsy, things are a little sparse. When we stage a home, we do it like from an interior design standpoint, like what I would show a client.
Sure.
Um, I've, I've curated furniture over the last 20 years, whether it be from the sources that we buy for design clients or a lot of times there's great estate sales here in Santa Fe. So we cull those and we pick up really unusual looking pieces to kind of add into our basic pieces that we use so that it really has a kind of a standout quality, I would say, is the best way I could describe that.
I'm getting it. I got you. It's a difference between Target and
Yeah,
you
Target
know,
and Wayfair versus,
right.
higher end pieces.
Sure.
Yeah,
And that's not to say that you can't find a nice little plant, at Target and things like, you can,
I have.
Yeah, of course. Nothing wrong
But
with that.
I call through. Yeah.
But some of the staple pieces, you're going to see the quality.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Marty, how did you get into this? Where did this all begin for you?
When I lived in California back in the 80s, I was working in the hotel business with the computer side of it. And I decided that I just wasn't enjoying that career. And I ended up quitting and without a job. I interviewed with a prominent designer back in the like South Bay area, Palos Verdes area, and she hired me without any experience. And so I became her assistant, and she taught me the ropes. She taught me everything she knew and how to source and how to measure and do all the types of things that an interior designer does. And I
Hmm.
kind of parlayed that into my own business. And when I moved to Santa Fe in 1996, my ex-husband and I were flipping homes, and so I ended up starting to stage those for sale. And because we were buying and selling and
Wow.
flipping houses, so I started to accumulate some inventory to do that. And then the real estate community got wind that we were doing that, and they started hiring me to do staging, all around town. And now we have 55 houses right now staged at one time. So we've developed, a bevy of furniture.
I have no words. I'm just
Yeah.
like floored. Like I just got hit with a hurricane.
Yeah.
My gosh, where do you keep all of these items?
Well, we keep them out at the houses.
But let's say
So, I mean,
all right, you have 55
we
houses staged right now.
right. So I have 55 storage units all over town that are paying me to store their furniture, right? But we also have a big warehouse. We have a retail store, and then behind that store is our warehouse where we keep the furniture that isn't currently out at a house. So,
Amazing.
yeah.
So would I believe that you all right, you have 55 houses staged. Just got sold, but then more pop up that need staging, and then you can
Mhm.
move items. When you're staging a home for someone, is it carte blanche basically, or the real estate just, Marty, come in, do your magic, and we're good? Or does actually somebody say, I am selling this house, but I don't like cream colored furniture. Does that ever happen?
Both. Yes. For the
Okay.
most part, people are like, Marty, come in, do your magic. The realtors, most of the realtors in town know who we are. They've seen our work. They know that they're going to get something great. So for the most part, yes, we're doing carte blanche. Occasionally, in fact, I was just talking with my assistant today. There's a client who wants to be heavily involved in what we use. And so we invite her to come into the warehouse and we kind of walk her through the warehouse and we kind of show her what we have available. We'll tag things specifically for that particular job that's coming
Okay.
up. So we try to be accommodating for the most part. And that's a little extra work, but again, we're in a service business, so I try to make people happy most of the time. But for the most part, we get to do what we want. So, which is great. We love that.
That must feel so good, especially when these houses are sold and they get way above the list or asking price
Yeah.
that you had a hand in that. How does that
Yeah.
feel?
Oh, I mean, I feel like we really are helping people, with their lives. We're helping them move forward if they're trying to sell. We're helping buyers if they need our services once they buy the house. And a home is such a big deal for most people, whether you're on the selling side or the buying side. So, we do make people happy for the most part. Yeah.
Have you ever, and I'm centering on the staging because this is way deeper than I ever thought it was going to be
Hmm.
in terms of the work you do. And we'll in future podcasts we'll get deeper into the design aspect. But have you ever had somebody call you up and say, Marty, I want to redesign in my home. This is kind of what I'm thinking. And have you ever come in and staged it how it may look when it's done, where when they've officially bought the furniture and all of that, sort of let me try, see what this looks like in real time as opposed to, let's say, a virtual video or drawing or whatever it might be. Has that ever happened?
Yeah, we have a try before you buy program.
Okay.
So
Hmm.
because we have so much furnishings, I'll meet with the client and I'll find out what their style is and what they kind of like, what direction they want to take in the home. Again, I might walk them through the warehouse, show them some things that we have. And then, yes, I'll come in with a truckload. We'll set it all up, and then they can live with it for a little bit, and they can say, "Okay, I like the sofa. I like this. I like that. Let's change this out. Let's change that out."
Wow.
So it's yeah, like you get a 3D version of your house before you're actually committing to everything that you're going to buy. So and people love that.
A lot of interior designers provide the items. They'll take care of it. They have many different sources to get the items from. Um,
Mhm.
it's priced accordingly for that convenience, but it's high quality items as well. You're very unique in the
Mhm.
because of the staging aspect of what you do. So if somebody were to say to you, I need a couch. What's your advice on what I should look for in buying a couch? You have personally purchased, I want to say hundreds of thousands of couches
Yeah.
over your career. Uh,
Yeah.
let's center on the couch. Very important piece of the living room. Um, what would you say that somebody should look for in a quality piece of furniture like that?
Well, it's really the sit test. It's the butt test. You, most people want, and they have their idea of what comfortable is to them. So we've got many sofas on our retail floor from sources that we use that have different types of seating, if you will, whether it be really firm or really soft or down and down filled, and people want to sit on them. Everybody has a different viewpoint as to what's comfortable to them. Some people want something really deep and cozy that they can put their feet up on and practically sleep on. Other people want to sit up and have something really firm. Um, and so the all of the sofa companies that I use for design work are high quality. They use, good materials inside, but it's really the sit test, and then the
Mm.
fabric. We have companies that we can choose their fabric. So there's, books and books and books of fabrics that they can select from so that, we can pick a style and then we can pick the fabric that goes on it and then we have it made for them.
Wow.
So I mean, it can be completely custom like that, or it can be exactly what you see on our floor that, exists that they can just take home today.
And quality
So
does make a huge difference. When I moved about a year and change ago, a little bit of a rush, so I picked something out. Um, I don't use the couch a lot, but I can even see wear on the fabric for the minimal use that I have. And I have two cats. I decided after I got the furniture to get two cats.
yeah,
And I love them. They served a purpose in our family of, helping healing and things like that. They're the smushiest, sweetest things ever.
yeah, but they
But
have claws.
they have claws, and that fabric just they can get into it where I'm sure there is more tightly woven fabric where they can't get their claws into so much. Really, I have a substantially sized scratching post on my floor. I'm over it.
Yeah,
I let it go.
I
I don't
know.
even think about it until I make changes and whatever. I'll never get rid of them, my cats.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I know the
you don't.
sofa goes before the cat.
Yeah, yeah, and I back onto Amazon. Let me get another throw a blanket
I know.
to hide the
Yeah,
damage.
yeah.
But the things that you don't think of when we're not in that mindset, somebody like you most certainly is. Um, can you do your work virtually? Obviously, not the staging part, but yeah, the other work. Somebody's looking for interior design, making some changes. Can that be done virtually?
Well, when you say virtually, a lot of times I'll work via, pictures that I send, emails, that sort of thing, even a FaceTime
Sure.
walkthrough of our, warehouse or our showroom. A lot of our clients, like I said, are second homeowners, so they'll come in, they'll be here to meet with me. We'll meet at the home, and then they'll go home, and then I'm sending them, you know, ideas, pictures, floor plans, things like that, so that we're working, you know, when they're somewhere in Texas or wherever, and we're here. So,
So
I mean,
cool.
that's yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, that's a lot of the work these days. So,
For sure. Fascinating. I'd like to, next time we get together, maybe go room by room and suggestions in terms of what can be done, what should be done. Wow, unique. You're very unique. You're you're
yeah.
you're set apart, and especially from having, the furniture store and so much more. How does somebody find you if they are in the New Mexico area, or even if they want to use you as a consultant and they're anywhere on the planet? What's the best way to find you?
We have a website, and that's the easiest thing. It's www.stageyourlife.net. Um, so they can look at us on the website. They can see all of the services that we offer. It has our showroom. Our showroom is located in Santa Fe, and on the website, our phone number and everything is there, so they can easily find us that way.
Gotcha. Wonderful talking with you today. Learned so
Yeah.
much. When, I saw the word staging, I thought, hey, it's available. Anybody, 55 homes at the moment. That's just insane. Incredible. Amazing having you on here. Thank you so much, Marty.
Thanks, Steve. Talk to you again soon.
We'll be right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, I mean, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.